My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. Today we are covering Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 11, episode 8. I think we're halfway through the half part of the season. I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also subscribe, and you can leave your comments below. Let's get into this week's episode. All right, y'all. So, Nell and Chris, they're meeting up at some restaurant. They're going to be meeting Destiny, but before we get there, Trish calls. Trish calls to invite Nell to something that we don't really know what it is. Because Trish is like, I want to have a day of just the girls and ladies letting our hair down. And then Nell is laughing a little bit because of how Trish is conveying whatever she's trying to convey. Either Trish, well, considering what the event is by the previews for next week, I understand why Trish was talking the way that she was talking. Because in the beginning, I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, obviously, production done set this up before I even seen what it is about. We don't have to talk about it this week, but yeah, people are gonna be talking about you next week, Trish. I'm just letting you know. But anyways, Nell said that I would be elated to go, or delighted, whatever you want to call it. She's ready to come. So then Destiny arrives. They end up talking about Tisha. About how Tisha's all of a sudden knows or now has empathy for Nell. After every time that Destiny was saying, you know, she really got a lot of stuff going on. And I guess that's why Tisha feels like Destiny takes up for Nell. I mean, for other ways too, but I think that Destiny tries to be fair. But I don't know. I want to say something because it's like, is there truth to what Marceau was saying? A friend to everyone is a friend to nobody. To a friend to everybody. Yeah, a friend to nobody. Yes, but at the same time, like, one, we on the same show. I just can't be friends with you. If you want to isolate yourself over there thinking y'all high and mighty, go ahead and do it. I'm friends with a lot of people, and you just can't control how I choose, who I choose, and how I choose to be friends with these folks. I just need to respect you and respect them. That's just that on that. So it's just like, I don't know. It's like, is there some truth to what Marceau is saying? Yeah, but I think that there should be an understanding of whatever relationship you are in, as whatever boundaries that you need. But don't think you're going to just control me and tell me what to do and how I need to function in that way. As long as I keep it cute, leave me alone or get away from me. Those are your two choices. Of course, we go into the whole, I don't even think Destiny talked about what Tisha said as far as her talking about her, but Destiny says, you know, I'm just confused again as to what she's so upset about, as she is every time. And she just says it just looks like that they're deflecting from their own real ish, because I did bring up Marceau and Chris having their talk and all that good stuff, and they all at the table are just comparing how Tisha and Marceau are moving this season, and they're both doing the same thing. Now Destiny says, look, Tisha has been there for me when I was down. And she acknowledges that and appreciates her for that. But she says, well, now that I'm glowing, now you want to beat me down? Because she said that instantly when Tisha came to the open house, she was saying, uh-oh, with your first open house, like you didn't know that I was a realtor. It's not like you haven't been my broker on some deals before. We didn't know, the audience. Y'all knew. So don't act brand new. So because of how Tisha has taken the offense by whatever Kimmy said, which we still don't know what Kimmy said, she's doing everything. Oh, you talk about me, so now I'm going to talk about you and be shady towards you. That's basically what it was. And that's the conclusion I'm coming from based on what Destiny's saying. But anyways, she says, you know, me as a friend or any of my relationships, I may not get it right, but I do try. And I'm going to keep trying until there is no more that I can do. And that's the most you can really expect from anyone in your life. And I don't see any type of pride that Destiny got. I don't see an ego in what Destiny has going on. It's really like, tell me how to fix it. Now y'all meters are back. All of a sudden y'all come out the bushes acting and pretending like y'all don't watch the show and trying to keep dibs on this show that you said that you're over because your queen, your god or goddess is gone. But y'all coming out the woodwork. But a lot like how Tisha's treating Destiny is the same way that Mel treated her. And a lot of times Mel wouldn't even communicate what the issue was, and what was said, and all of that. She wouldn't. All this general talking, and then now want to claim that you're the victim and I'm the enemy. No. Anyways, we're moving on to Ken and Trish. They finally meet up and I guess trying to have a meeting of the minds after all this time. Ken apologizes for the role that he played in the destruction of what's going on in their relationship right now. He says he gives points as to what he feels like he did wrong. Not allowing myself to get caught up in my emotions was my problem. I did allow myself to do that. Now, not allowing myself to get angry about certain things. Still talking all this general code, basically saying I blew up in situations. And I wasn't being more patient than I was. But he said, dealing with stuff with your ex and da-da-da-da-da, I was at my breaking point. So then you don't take responsibility. You just are giving a reason as to why you did what you did. I started to become the evil person that I said you were being. I can't call you evil and do evil things. Interesting. What I did, at the moment, it felt right. It felt right to step out and do whatever you want to call it. Cheating, not cheating, I don't know what you did exactly. It felt right to go see another person. It felt right to lie about it when Trish already knew. And then the kicker is, I wanted to see if I could hurt your feelings. The most I can tell y'all is, if someone ever says that to you, run. Because who the are you? Testing me to see if you could really hurt my feelings, and said, well, you don't really show emotions, da 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 da. Oh, she's showing emotions. She just don't show what you want her to show you. And it looks like Trisha is a person that internalizes things, and then she's gonna blow up at you. And she'll take so much, and then that's it. He said, I was being childish, I was being immature, da 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 da. I'm almost 40. That's quite pathetic. Y'all in your 40s, or approaching 40s, still playing these games of I wanted to make you mad. But how could you say that you wanted to make her mad, but you didn't want to confess that you were seeing anyone? There's too many red flags for you, Trisha. They talk about how they started a relationship, they moved too fast. I'm like, yeah, you moved that ninja in your place, all that stuff. He got so close to your children, it may have felt comfortable because you got a man that's actually stepping up and doing this, da 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 da. And he got cozy, and you got cozy. He says that the time apart, it felt good, but nah. So, what it feels like, I don't know. If you're saying that y'all needed, that it felt good that y'all had time apart, do y'all need to be living together? Why don't y'all just, well, they're going to be talking about they're going to work to getting back to trusting each other. Why do y'all need to live together? She's still not divorced. I'm like, what else he saying? Yeah, this ain't it. So now you want to come back home. So Trish said, they're going to work on getting back to trusting each other. Trish asked, are you still with that person? He said, no, absolutely not. But you couldn't be, see, that's the thing. You couldn't be truthful about it in the first place, according to Trisha. Um, he said that this whole thing wasn't serious. Now, I couldn't hop into another relationship. No. But then you said how you like this woman. You were able to say she's more soft, she's more feminine, and all of that. You got someone completely opposite, and you enjoyed it. Okay. He says that, nah, I prefer to be right here. And they basically said, I want to fix it. And we just got to work on communication because the good times outweigh the bad. I don't know. Because I just don't get it. I don't understand the relationship because if y'all get to the point where y'all are really toxic and saying a lot of to each other, I don't know. I'm not in a relationship, but it just seems the way they're trying to act like this relationship is just so bread and butter, melted butter. I can't believe it's not butter. That's how it feels like. So whatever. Shout out to y'all. Chris and Nell, they go to Lance's home. Also who's there is little Chris and Kayla. They are there to reiterate boundaries set. When they get there, Lance already has an attitude. And I guess we'll find out a little bit later why he got an attitude. But Lance did say in his confessional that I'm not really in the mood because we just talked about the same stuff over and over. Well, then change, Negro. Or really them. They need to change. But anyways. He talks about how he has an issue with Nell because he heard from Kayla about how she has problems with watching the child as far as, I think he said something about time variables or whatever. Basically, you take advantage of her. And you got an attitude about it? But he's like, why am I just hearing it now? But you got an attitude about it at the same point? I get that you're trying to say, well, Mom, how come you didn't come to me? I'm sure that they have said certain things to you. You ain't listened because you're used to overstepping boundaries because you know your mom's still gonna be there. She gonna fuss and cuss at you, and you know at the end of the day, your mom's still gonna be there whether you're in order or out of order. That's the real issue, Lance. Kayla said, well, we were just having girl talk, and she was just venting. Just to let you know what that conversation was. So, let her off the hook of not coming to you first. Nell says, you know, I know that there are some issues between Chris and Lance. I don't think at each other, but because of how I deal with Lance, because it seems like I cater to Lance's children more than Chris's child. And Nell said, you know, the truth is that I try to juggle both. And I feel like I have twins. Like, so you, Chris, who just really got a baby, is also depending on your mom to take care of your child. And also is not showing up on time to alleviate your mother, their grandmother, when it's time. And I'm sure Chris just seen it happen with Lance, and he's just following through with Lance and what Lance was doing. So Lance said, going forward, I'm going to do my due diligence. Okay, sir. Okay, we're going to see. But half of it's your fault and half of it is Nell's. That's all I got to say. Then they start talking about dating and intentionally dating. Chris Jr., he's just dating. He's outside. He's not taking anyone that serious. Nell was speaking to everyone, but I know she was basically intending it for Lance, and probably more exclusively because of how Lance rolls. Do not bring no one to my home that you are not serious about. Lance gets another attitude problem. And he's like, look, I think everybody deserves a shot. I'm sorry, but you know who you are intentional about. You know who you think that, okay, I can see myself. Is this The Bachelor? No. And that's why these women get attached to you, sir. Because you're sitting up here playing these games and introducing them to the family, making them feel welcome in some type of way, thinking that you really want to put some roots with her. So your dating life is out of whack. And how you actually treat these women. Now says you just doing life and you need to wrap it up. I think that there's a lot of stuff behind this new baby that came along. We just ain't getting it. There's got to be a whole lot of drama out there. But hey, What doesn't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. Lance says, I'm 34. I got 3 children. That's not a bad number. But Lance, you have 3 baby mamas. Then Chris, he steps in and says, well, you think it's not a bad number, but the situation has an effect on your life. Oh, yeah. Of course it does. You got to deal with 3 baby mamas. You had to move in with your mother and father temporarily when the child was a newborn. Something's going on with that baby mama. I don't think we'll ever know about it, but anyway. Also, that she could take care of your child. And then she was offering to come stay at your house so that you could still be effective at your job. And you still want to lollygag and find the next woman and play around with them and bring them into your children's life, which Nell's going to talk about. Lance still is upset. He says, my situation is always magnified. And Nell said, because you're always doing ish. You have small children and everyone doesn't need to be around them. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And then Lance gonna say, look, you're seasoned in marriage, but you're not seasoned in dating. Lance, it looks like you got married young, and now you want to live your single life. Cool, but there are still some variables in this whole situation that you got going on. And you should be looking out for yourself a whole lot more, and your children a whole lot more. You have a lot still on your plate. You are just not someone with no children, all that, no, carefree. No. I mean, it should be just as important as who you let in your space, who you give your energy to, who you allow energy to be given to you from. And that's for anybody. Friendships, relationships, even your family. Sorry. Nell was getting to the point where she probably possibly was just starting to fuss. So she said, let me go see my grandbaby. So then Kayla says, I think that you ignore red flags and you can choose more wisely in dating. That's the last thing that Nell was stating before and all that. I just don't understand why you're getting so mad. Because, the truth is really coming out. The truth is really coming from a wise place. And whatever you got going on personally, it's affecting what's going on with all your other relationships. I know people say, well, Nell needs to mind her own business. I still don't think that Nell said anything wrong. I would say let this be your last time talking to them, or at least talking to him about it. If he still got an attitude and all that, cool. And guess what? And if he does bring somebody home, I don't know. You could say don't bring no +1 around here. I get it. And also, you don't want to be attached to someone that he's acting like he wants to be serious about, but not really serious about. So whatever. I don't think that Nell said anything wrong. I don't think that she was intrusive like she can be. No. She's basically saying, Lance, get your life together. That's it. Destiny meets up with Twan. That was the bodyguard. They are just good friends. She said they talk about the last encounter that they had and how they shut the place down. She said that it was nice to be around a person where I could let my walls down. I could be soft. I think that was pretty cool. I think the chemistry is there between her and Lance. I think that Twan has an extra edge because at least we haven't heard her confess this to Lance, but it seems like this Twan person probably could be more suitable if they actually go someplace outside of being friends. I don't know what's really happening there because she's just saying they're friends. What does friends mean? Because Destiny keeps saying friends, but whatever. Then Twan brings up that there's a rumor out there between him and Caleb. That's Nell's daughter. Because there's some IG posts where they're having fun after lifting or whatever, just giving some content for the internet. So, of course, people just assume stuff. And it's not even an internet age. You could just be seen with someone and they just think that you're automatically together. That's not necessarily the case. And Destiny said, I never heard of that, so Right, you know. Now we're back with Nell. Lance comes over. They want to finish their talk from the other day after how things were not at a heated place, but it just was like a brick wall. Lance has decided, through Nell's advice, you need to spend more time with your children. Choose designated days where you're just having quality time. It just can't be about work and all that. And he says he's doing that, and I think that it's great. I think it's working out perfectly. His son, is really enjoying it and has said like he likes that. So good. It looks like he's listening for now. Nell said that Lance is bypassing talking about his dating life, his dating style, and all that stuff. She's choosing not to say anything, let that go. I'm going to be pleased at what he has already brought to me about what he's doing with my grandchildren. Then Destiny arrives. And Nell purposely made sure that Lance and Destiny sat next to each other. See, look at y'all. I said, Lord. Look at that chemistry. Whatever. They start talking about Kayla and Twan, the rumor. And Nell was like, hold up, what? She said, well, I know that Kiki and Twan, they would be flirting when he come over for dinner and all that, but not Kayla. And then, of course, now Lance is gleaming, is it? Because now the focus is off of him. But I think that there is some type of envy. I'm not going to say jealousy, even though they're kind of the same. But I think it's like possibly because Kayla's the responsible one. And no one really gets on Kayla's case. And it's always the boys. Well, the boys is always effing up. But he says he's just glad that the spotlight is on someone else. Doubt it. I think that there's something else there with Kayla, but we'll leave it there for now. Nell was just talking about, with Kayla, everyone really looked out for her, everybody protects her. And Lance said, I still do, but she's grown now. But Nell's really bothered because Kayla and I normally don't have any secrets. There is no secret. And Destiny was like, why are you? She didn't say it to Nell, but she was trying to tell her, nobody believes it. It's just a rumor out there. Twan didn't give much life to it. He just said what he needs to say. Nell is giving it more life. I don't know. But obviously there's a close-knit bond between her and Kayla like no other. It's just, I don't know. That's where I think, okay, you're really imposing yourself even on a situation that don't even have legs and you're giving them legs or prosthetic legs at this point. It's just like, whatever. But yeah, for the most part, I was okay with Nell this episode. Normally I'm not. So that's a good sign for me. Next episode, I guess things are going to get heated. I was okay with none of the Scotts being on, which is different from the beginning of the season last year, where I was like, maybe they need to be, like, it was a nice change, but at the same time, I was like, we kind of missing something. And then they came in and start stirring some ish, and it was like, okay, the Scotts are lazy, and they're old veterans, OGs. And it's kind of one of those, they're kind of people that, okay, I'll get in the field if I have to. Don't really want to, but okay, let's do something. That's how they are in Lackadaisical. And it's just like, we got 30 episodes. And y'all think that y'all just going, y'all could just float in and out? Nah. But whatever. I enjoyed them not being on here. What did y'all think of this episode? Did you guys enjoy the Scotts not being there? But anyways, I appreciate everyone for coming. Like, comment, subscribe. And until the next one, peace.